Hello, and welcome back to the Ultimate Spider-Man Reviews. My name is Cameron, and this is issue 69, continuing on from issue 68 with Fantastic Four Johnny Storm, and seeing how he and the other characters are going to be dealing with the craziness that went on in the previous issue. Now, before we get into this review, I just want to tell you guys that if you become a patron and support the channel, then you get these Ultimate Spider-Man reviews a day earlier than everybody else, along with other rewards such as free comics, behind the scenes of how these videos are made, and more. So if it sounds like something you're interested in, then check the link in the description and take a look. Now, of course, you guys being subscribed is enough for me, but if any of you want to help out with the channel, then by all means, it's greatly appreciated. And now that that's out of the way, it's time to get into this awesome issue, so let's go. Okay, so the issue's picking up directly from where the previous issue left off, and of course it's very expected that everyone starts running away like crazy thinking that Johnny Storm is a mutant. And for any of you guys that watch my Miles Morales Spider-Man comic book reviews, I did mention that in the future of the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, everyone likes mutants, everyone's interested in them, everyone accepts them, but that's in the future when Miles becomes Spider-Man. But right now in the present with Ultimate Spider-Man Peter Parker, everyone is scared of mutants, everyone hates mutants. They're almost referred to as like a plague, so when Johnny Storm comes across as a mutant, everyone starts running away screaming, not only because he's on fire, but because of the possibility of him being a mutant as well. I think one of the funniest parts of this issue in its entirety was actually when Peter and Mary Jane reacted to Johnny Storm being set on fire. Honestly, this is a little bit more of a serious issue compared to usual, and the fact that Peter was more concerned with his eyebrows being singed off is one of the highlights of the humour in this issue. I also want to address some of the reactions from some of you guys that saw the issue previously. Honestly, quite a lot of you guys only know Ultimate Johnny Storm from either the Ultimate Fantastic Four comics or the Ultimate Spider-Man video game, and some of you actually pointed out that in the Ultimate Spider-Man video game, Johnny Storm comes off as a little bit of a jerk, not very nice, but in this Ultimate Spider-Man series, he actually comes across as a really cool guy, and that is actually something that I felt when playing the Ultimate Spider-Man game, that I think the game portrayed his character very wrong. Like, he came off as a little bit cocky, a little bit of a jerk, and overall, not really nice to Spider-Man, but in this series, he's awesome. And so I think that's where the Ultimate Spider-Man game kind of tripped up a little bit, and obviously it gave you guys the wrong perception of Johnny Storm in the Ultimate Universe until you saw these reviews. So since a few of you guys actually mentioned it, I figured I'd just address it in this review. Now anyway, moving further into the comic, you can see on screen the sort of stuff I was talking about with mutants earlier in the review. And we also discover Liz is actually frightened that she could be a mutant and something happened to her with mutants. She's got a mutant phobia, and right now I can't exactly remember it off the top of my head what's wrong with Liz to do with mutants, etc. Obviously I know what happens in the future of the Ultimate Spider-Man comics with her, but the reason why she's afraid of mutants and everything, I can't exactly remember. But if I have to put a finger on it, I would probably say something happened with her and her family, or her brother or something like that. Something crazy to do with mutants, but I will definitely have to refresh my memory on it after this review. I so wish I could remember right now, but sadly I can't. Something that I really appreciate in this issue is, remember when I said that there was hardly any humour in this issue and it was mainly just at the beginning? Well, when Peter puts the Spider-Man costume on, the humour is brought a lot more into the comic, and it's almost like humour is like the costume of Spider-Man, and when Peter puts that costume on, it's almost like he's putting humour on. And you can just see the funny quips coming out of Spider-Man's mouth filling the comic pages, and it's not exactly like he's trying to be funny, it's just little things that Spider-Man is saying that gives you a little chuckle, and in a way just sort of lightens the comic up a bit. No Human Torch pun intended. Okay, maybe a little bit. Something that's very interesting about the interaction between Johnny Storm and Spider-Man is the reason why Johnny Storm and the Fantastic Four haven't come out public with their powers yet, and it's because they have learned from what happened to Spider-Man. And that's a really interesting thing, because the way this comic is written is almost like people of New York City have noticed, and it's bringing New York City to life. And so the Fantastic Four are learning from Spider-Man and taking note of what they should and shouldn't do in order to have a better superhero debut than what Spider-Man did. So in a way, Spider-Man is influencing other superheroes and he doesn't even realise it. And speaking of influence, the way Spider-Man jumps into action when he sees this burning building is also influencing Johnny Storm to be a better superhero. And I also believe this is a very special moment for Johnny Storm, because not only is he a huge fan of Spider-Man and he's talking to Spider-Man, but now he's fighting crime with Spider-Man as well. And this is the very first time Johnny Storm has actually done anything to stop a crime or save someone from a burning building, and to do it next to Spider-Man is most likely a dream come true for him. for any of you guys that have also read the Ultimate Spider-Man series before or know what happens in the future, this comic is especially awesome because this is the first time Johnny Storm and Spider-Man officially meet for the first time as Spider-Man and Johnny Storm. And later on in the Ultimate Spider-Man series, Johnny Storm and Spider-Man actually become really good friends when the Fantastic Four go public. So in a way, this is like the beginning of an awesome friendship, and you can expect to see Johnny Storm in the Ultimate Spider-Man series a lot later on, so you can look forward to that. Now, if you look in super detail at the comic, you almost feel like you are Johnny Storm yourself, not only because he's actually quite relatable, but also the fact that you guys have probably forgotten that Johnny Storm was supposed to meet Liz. And Johnny Storm has probably forgotten all about that as well, and that is because he's got so hyped over teaming up with Spider-Man that it sort of lifted his spirits up, and the fact that we got to read that and see that in the comic pages has pretty much also done the same thing to us. And that's how you know that it's a good comic. Now guys, the panel you are seeing on screen right now is actually the final page, and that is where the issue ends. What did you think? Let me know in the comment section below. Specifically, let me know what you thought about Johnny Storm, as this is where we leave him in the Ultimate Spider-Man series for a while, at least until he goes public with Fantastic Four anyway. But going into Spider-Man and Johnny Storm's relationship together and the friendship, this is just the beginning. Now, I'm not going to ruin anything in terms of how close these guys actually get, but Johnny Storm does actually become a major part of Peter Parker's life, and no, I'm not saying that they're going to get in a relationship or anything like that. I just mean they become ultimate bros, and it's awesome. So as for this issue, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 because Johnny Storm was awesome. It was a good continuation from the previous issue. I wish we saw Liz a little bit more than what we did, but she pretty much has a saga dedicated to her later on in the series anyway, so that'll make up for it, and so I'll forgive the issue for that. But yeah, overall the issue was awesome, and I can't wait to review the next one. But until then guys, again, if you want these Ultimate Spider-Man reviews before anybody else, and a free comic every week along with behind the scenes of how these videos are made and more, then go to the link in the description and check out the rewards if you become a patron and see if anything takes your interest. And of course, whilst you're down in the description, make sure you follow me on Twitter and Facebook. And for you guys that have only just discovered this channel, if you like what you see, then hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on this video, and I'll see you next time.